Hey guys, welcome back. This is 12-inch PB Penis, and we are going to be doing our first impressions on Cyrus the Great and Nebuchadnezzar II. So if you guys are brand new here, I am a T5 free-to-play player. I've been playing this game for 358 days, and I'm currently 61.6 million power. My original goal was to hit T5 in 10 months. I did it on day 273. Those are my credentials whenever I give advice or whenever I say things, because, if I'm telling you it, I probably wish I had done it or have done it. So this video is going to be on the two new archer commanders that came out. Keep in mind that I am an infantry player, so I don't have full context when it comes to archers. However, these are my first impressions on it, and I figured I'm going to get asked this a lot, so I might as well get ahead of it. First off, we're going to be looking at Cyrus the Great here. Overall, I really like him, honestly. I think that he actually gives probably more stock value into Ramses, who is already really good. Looking at him, his primary skill is the Immortals. This is kind of reminiscent of Ethelflaed, where you'd run this as a primary, so your secondary would deal more nuke damage. The damage factor is pretty decent, 1400. I mean, nothing like ecstatic and single target, so I'm not like super hyped about it, but taking 20% extra damage is really nice. And the fact that it's not taking damage from him specifically, like he's not increasing his damage, but it is a debuff, so that's also really nice. I would say he's like a nuker primary or maybe a support piece in a 5-march. That's kind of how I see him right now from this ability, or maybe like a counter rallier. Looking at his second ability, Battle of Thimbra, forgive me if I butcher that. These are classic raw stats. 15% archer march speed is pretty nice, and 30% attack bonus. This is like honestly power creep compared to like El Cid. They both have, the second skill looking like this, and overall it's pretty nice. It makes your commanders, like, if you're ever looking to 5-5-1-1 them, a combination of like a pretty basic strong first skill plus a lot of raw stats as your second skill would just give you like generic workhorse commanders, which is kind of nice. So the third ability here is going to be Persian Bow. I really like this ability. I think that it works out really nice with Ramses again, actually. And I think that it's strong when it's up, but it has an internal cooldown. Like everything these commanders do has an internal cooldown. It's kind of frustrating because I think that, it may be OP without the internal cooldown, but it makes them significantly worse having this. So, this being a support ability and reducing the skill damage that it does by 40% is really cool. The damage factor is, 750, it's nothing to sneeze at, but like the majority of what we're looking for here is the damage reduction. If we go over here and we look at Ramses is taking 30% less skill reduction on it. So if you're making him deal 40% less and you're taking 30% less, you're overall taking only 30% of skill damage as Ramses from the target you're hitting. So really tanky, really nice. I think that pairing's going to be really cool because they have a lot of synergy. The last one we're going to be looking here is Cyrus Cylinder. I don't know. I don't know. Like, if you're getting attacked, I guess it's pretty okay for 600, so I don't know how big the circle is going to be. Overall, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I would use this for barb chaining. I know free-to-play brain is just coming in hot here, but circular AoE, dealing damage to everybody, it's pretty good. I don't know, like, the internal cooldown just, like, makes my cock incredibly flaccid when I look at this, right? It's just, like, these aren't bad. They just have an internal cooldown. It's like, I guess. Like, Alex's second skill doesn't have a marked internal cooldown. If it does, I don't know, but these do have a marked internal cooldown. It kind of frustrates me a little. The expertise over here, King of the World, is pretty fucking good, but it just, it has an internal cooldown, which is, kind of frustrating. I think you're probably going to have this up like half the time, and having, 40% stats and 50% rage, or an extra 50 rage half of the time is pretty fucking strong. So I think expertising this guy is pretty good. My closing thoughts here are that he's going to be like a pretty good debuffer, a pretty good deathballer, but I'm not seeing like anything absolutely insane. I think he's strong. I just don't think he's like wildly crazy. And I think that the internal cooldowns do a lot to curb his overall power, which honestly is probably a good thing considering the flop that Harold had for most intents and purposes. So, as an infantry player, I'm kind of cheering a little bit. Another thing is, he seems really nice with Ramses. I'm going to like the way it looks. And I think he's a slam dunk expertise if you're an archer player. I don't see why you wouldn't. He's nice, especially in a death ball, and with a bunch of nuker commanders, I don't see why you wouldn't want additional damage taken increases from his primary ability. So pretty good. I very much enjoy him. The second one here is going to be Nebuchadnezzar II. And I like him significantly less than I like Cyrus. One of the reasons is he's a rally comm, but you can still probably get some value out of him as a free-to-play. So his first ability here is going to be 1500 damage factor and a fan. I'm hoping it's like Ethelflaed's damage factor. So it's going to hit multiple targets and maybe get more value. I don't know. This is just like a very bland ability. The second ability here is like just regular workhorse stuff. Looking at these two in conjunction, you could probably 5-5-1-1 him and get away with it. If you're looking for workhorse archers, again, this is probably like a more on a budget looking for 5 marches type thing before you start expertising everything. But I mean, overall, like I'm not super impressed with him. Oh, another thing I'd like to add here is that because this gives him defense and Cyrus gets attack, the defense is significantly better because in KVK, you're currently getting a 50% bonus to attack. So every other stat is generally better than attack right now because you're already getting so much attack. So pretty good. Looking at this next ability, Blessing of Marduk. So you're probably counter rallying with him. I don't think you're hitting structures with this guy. And it's Martel 4th ability, which is cool. It's just like you're only getting it during a rally attack. So you're not fielding this guy regularly at his expertise level. And I guess you don't have field control. Maybe this is like an Ark of Osiris thing where everybody's going to swarm you anyway, so you want to get some value out of it, kind of like when you're sending AT like deep into opponents' buildings, you know, just to make them jump or make them move. You know, you're going to have to address this or your garrison's going to go down. You're going to have to take some losses in terms of troops when I do this. Overall, like the damage factor is pretty nice. The internal cooldown's kind of meh. I think like the main thing that we're looking at here is the counterattack damage bonus. I think it's pretty good. I think the direct damage factor isn't terrible, but you know, if you're getting some extra damage onto the building or onto the rally that you're rallying, that's always nice. I guess you're not getting it from the rally because a counter rally doesn't take incoming attacks, so it's really just the building. All right, our next ability here is going to be Destroyer of, I'm going to butcher this, we're going to leave it at Destroyer. I think this is a pretty like solid skill. It's kind of a shame that it comes directly after this one because if I was just like straight open fielding and this was his 3rd skill, I could 5-5-5-1 him and like be pretty happy with my comm. 15% damage bonus is really nice. Like if you take commander like Richard, for example, Richard's 2nd skill would be completely nullified by this. 15% damage bonus like gets through basically like all of your talents in your trees that would give you damage resistance. This would just rip straight through because the additive properties of damage in this game. So it's really cool. I enjoy it. I think the rage reduction is fucking really meh, and it has an internal cooldown, which is, again, super meh. I mean, like, Boudica does better than this. I don't know. The damage bonus is good. I enjoy the damage bonus. You know, the rage reduction is okay. Like, I'm sure it's going to have, like, some use. It's just not my favorite part of this commander. We're going to look at the expertise over here. Additional 500 damage factor. It's what they would give to an epic commander. Like, you know, an epic commander is like Boudica, what do they give her? Like 400 damage factor? So they give him 500? Single target? You know, I mean, it's really underwhelming. But again, I'm an infantry player, and I'm not going to be going for this guy, and so other people are going to go for him, and I'm kind of happy about that. So it is what it is. Closing thoughts here. I mean, maybe he rallies garrisons? Because, like, as a counter-rallier, like, I imagine him being a counter-rallier, but you're not taking incoming attacks if you're a counter-rallier, because if you're counter-rallying, the other rally is hitting something. So you have to get swarmed while leading a rally attack. So you'd have to be rallying the stronghold in order for this to get value. And then people would have to swarm you. But you also have an internal cooldown on this. Like, you can't, like, hit everybody for damage factor because there's a cooldown. You have Martel's 4th ability, and that's pretty fucking good. So I guess, like, I'm being overly critical because, like, 30% counterattack damage bonus is, like, pretty fucking good. And it's good enough to where, like, people look at it in Martel and just, like, poggers, but why does everything have internal cooldowns? I understand. It'd probably be crazy strong if you didn't, but goddamn it, dude. Goddamn. Okay, so closing thoughts here. I would say that Cyrus the Great is probably the better of the two for your average player. Maybe I could be completely wrong about Chad here, and he could be really strong. I am just a lowly free-to-play player, so what the fuck do I know? But that's definitely not my speed. I would say, if anything, I would consider like 5-5-1-1ing him as like a workhorse archer commander. You know, it's not my official stance on it, but that's like the most use that I would personally use on him if I was doing the archer archetype. Cyrus the Great could probably be used in the same fashion, maybe more so because this damage taken increase is something really nice. And I mean, overall, I think you could probably get away with 555 wanting him because I don't think the Cyrus cylinder is absolutely nuts for you to get. And I think King of the World is really good, but if you're on a budget, I don't think it's crazy important. But I do think it's good enough to where you should expertise him. So kind of like a William situation, I think. Those are my opening thoughts on these commanders. Overall, I think that when I eventually go into archers, I'm probably going to be picking up Ramses, and I think I'm actually probably going to be picking up Cyrus the Great. I think I'm going to be skipping Chad over here, especially because he comes from the MGE. This is a wheel com, guys. You know, it's pretty fucking easy to get, and he's the better of the two. So, you know, kind of a no-brainer here. If you guys enjoy the content, be sure to drop a follow or a sub. And if you guys are watching this right now, I'm actually currently live on Twitch. My Twitch is in the description below. If you guys are ever looking for notifications for when I go live or when I post a new video, or you guys want to ask me questions while I'm not live, the best place to find me is also in the description below. There's a little Discord link down there. Hop in, say hi, tell me how much you hated the video or how much you agreed with it. And yeah, I'll see you guys there. Have a great one.